Well, hello, hello. We are live once again on this Tuesday evening. Here in the UK, it is 8:30 in the evening. Where you are is 3:30 Eastern time, or if you're on the West Coast, I don't know how what the time is there. Um, just got to do what we normally do. We're going to go over some trades. I've taken a trade, so we'll jump into that in a second. But we'll use Edgefull platform. We'll talk about the trade straight away, shall we? Since we're here, I've used the Power Hour breakout report on the SPY. This is the US 500, which is the SPY. Um, it's the futures versions. It's the same price action though, so don't worry about that too much. Um, let's go to the data. So you can see on the SPY, we've selected stock in the top left-hand corner here. I'll zoom in so you can see. Whoa! Don't know what happened there. I think I went back a page. Right, let's try that again. So stock SPY. Zoom in. This is the left side panel, and I've gone to Power Hour breakout report, of course, because that's what we do on these evening sessions. Choose a date range. I've just gone for 6 months, but you can change that to kind of year to date, 1 year, 2 year. But I find that 6 months is a good amount of data to have when you're looking at this. I've gone by weekday, so your sub report is a standard one. That's what will come up straight away if you're looking at the Power Hour breakout report, and obviously all the other reports as well. Just the standard data that you'll get. But if you do by a weekday, what it does is it filters out all the different weekdays in the last 6 months, specifically, obviously, Tuesday, because it is Tuesday. And you can see that there is a 15% chance that a new low of day is made. Of course, we're trading around lows of the day. It's been a bit of a red day. So we're going to use this data, or we have used this data rather, to see if there's going to be a new low on the day. Of course, there's 15% chance that that will happen. Let's jump back into the chart. So what I've done is I've taken a trade around this sort of area, which was the kind of retest of the trend line. Because obviously, it also drew a trend line from the day. The day opened up here, a nice little push up in the open, and obviously subsequently kind of traveled down basically for the rest of the day. After that, so I've entered the trade on the retest thereabouts, and obviously I'm going to have the stop loss below the low of day, because that's where the data lies. That's where the 15% lies. Now, of course, you can have it right on there if you want, just a little bit low, but I like to have it a little bit lower, just to, I don't know, just it's my risk style. And my target price is very simple, back up to here, which is the midpoint of the first hour's price action. So this blue box you see here is the first hour's price action. And obviously this is the midpoint. So I simply want it to come back to here by the time the market closes. Of course, if that happens, then great, I've made money. Hopefully that does. And of course, if it doesn't, then I will close the trade regardless, before the market close, because that's where the data lies. Now, of course, given the right risk management, you probably could take this through to the futures. But if you're just trading in these names until the market closed, then just be aware of that as where the data lies. It doesn't go beyond that point. It's the same for like Tesla, Meta, Google, Barber, all that kind of stuff as well, not just the SPY. So I've taken that trade. I've also taken a little trade in Meta as well, which is the same sort of move, essentially the same move. So you can see here. I don't know if I entered it then or not, but yeah. So we've got the trend line coming down. It's showing a bit of strength around this sort of level, because obviously we had a really good amount of strength off here earlier. Again, here, kind of 6:20 time UK. And of course, around this sort of area just before market open. So what we want to do is have that below the low of day. I'm guessing that's the low of day, actually. Yeah, that's the low of day down there. So yeah, I've got the stop loss down below the low of day, and I've actually got the target price. Again, similar to the SPY, which is around that kind of 50% mark on the first hour's price action. Also, I've got the previous day's low here as well. So a couple of trades going into the close. Let's see if they pull off. These things happen. Sometimes you just get a red day, and that's that. But we'll probably watch SPY predominantly. I'm not too bothered about the Meta one. It's quite a small one, quite a small position. But how are we going on? Have you got any questions for me in this particular trade? what are you looking at today? I haven't actually looked at the market too much. I've looked at the main names, but let's have a look. Let's do it on the screen so it's a bit more interesting. And then we'll dive a little bit more into the Edgepool platform as we see it. Let's go to watch list. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of names. Very red day out there today. Let's sort it by, one of the things I like to do on TradingView is sort it by change. You can just see it above. Can you see that? No, it's just behind the bird's head. And it says change percentage, and you can basically sort by the amount that it's changed by percentage. Pretty self-explanatory. Stanham down 11, Soxel down 10. That's the leverage position for semiconductors. We get rid of that. Palantir down 9 after their earnings. I wonder what HIMS did. I actually didn't even see their earnings last night at all. Are they even here? Oh, there they are. Minus 2.6%, which is actually pretty good considering their history of post-earnings price action. Not many green stocks on the day, at least on my list. So I've got 7 green stocks on my list. This is not my main watch list, by the way. My main watch list would be this one that's called Closer for some reason. Again, let's switch it to. I don't think I have one green stock. Yeah, that's amazing. What a day in the market, really. Not as painful as you think. So another thing that I wanted to bring up tonight, just for a kind of general market overview, is if we go to the top left here and we go to a different tab, got the SPY tab here. And this is the SPY daily chart. This kind of general kind of movement cloud is what I call it, but I think it's officially called a EMA trend cloud, which is pretty cool. All you have to do is on the indicators just search EMA trend cloud, I think. Just pop up straight away. Yeah, so obviously we've had lots of price action in the last, well, since April really, where the price actions come to the top of the cloud. And we're kind of getting closer and closer, getting deeper and deeper into the cloud. But I mentioned this line here, 674 on SPY at the weekend, which I would have liked to see touched before any further highs. That makes sense. Obviously, that's still very much in play. Got lots of volume here on the right side as well, but there's no reason why it doesn't touch perfectly, and it could have already, touched the bottom. It could also be moving up now already. But yeah, we'll see how that kind of develops over the next couple of weeks. Really, we can make more all-time highs. But the trend is our friend. We're nowhere near in the cloud. That's the main thing. All of these are fair value gaps. I'm still not entirely sure what they do. I'm still trying to learn that. I'll turn that off for now. I'm always trying to learn, always trying to learn. New indicators, new strategies. Although you must always have your normal strategies to hand whenever you're ready. Right, okay, let's go back into charts. We've got a bit of a green price action coming in here now. 20 minutes to the market close. Hopefully we can get to this level here. That would be ideal. I go to a different country tomorrow. I go to Malta tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to that. So it'd be nice to kind of close the week essentially on Tuesday, because obviously I'm not going to be trading on holiday. I'll look at my swing positions and manage them, but I won't be actively day trading. That would be rather silly of me. Plus, I track my trades. I journal every night after the day's trading, and if I start trading on holiday, I can't journal, which means I'm not going to be as due diligent as I would normally be. Okay, let's go back to the FTMO playlist. I've just called it that because they're the assets that are on the FTMO. Apart from these are different. These are my dividends. Okay, let's go. Let's have a little scan through. So we go back to the Edgepool data here. Obviously that's very zoomed in. I'll zoom out a bit. There's the SPY. You can see we have selected by the weekday, as I mentioned, and the last 6 months. Let's just go through some of the names, shall we? So we've got QQQ, probably similar sort of thing. Yeah, 15%. Apple, 15%. All of these stocks will be around about 15%, 15, 20%. One that I do want to point out is one that's actually failed today already, which is Amazon. Amazon says there's a 15% chance of a new low of day made, but of course it doesn't always work out. This 15% is data that's going against you, against your thesis at least. Let's jump into the chart and I'll show you what happens at Amazon today. Amazon, the last hour started here, which is this blue line, and it subsequently broke the lows of the day, which was set actually on the turn of the hour, no, just before the turn of the hour there. And they broke straight away. So that 15% that you see on the screen here will be slightly higher next Tuesday. And if we go to take off the weekday, we go to back to standard, which is every single day in the last 6 months, then you'll see that 14% will go up ever so slightly for tomorrow's reporting. Let's go back to weekday though. I like the weekday one because it's a bit more specific. For example, you have like CPI releases on Thursdays, you have FOMC meetings on Wednesdays. So those kind of days can really skew the data. So just be aware of that when you're trading. At least this report. Most reports really, I mean, just be careful with what's happened in the past, especially in the last 6 months. It's been quite volatile. But we like the volatility. That's what we like. And ultimately we want to push into the close here for a little bit of money. Right. Let's continue scrolling. We've got Google, 20%. Meta, this is the one I'm actually trading. So let's have a look at the data. So the data's actually slightly higher. It's 19%, 19.23 new low of day made, but anything below 20% is a good percentage in my book. Hopefully that plays off as well. See what happens. I'm keeping one eye on the Liverpool match because we are playing Real Madrid. So it's quite exciting. So I'm not actually watching it, it's just the live feed of it. But yeah, one of the things I wanted to talk about as well. So watch lists are really important, especially for when you're looking at reports and you just want to skip through stocks to get the data that you want pretty quickly. Especially if you're lacking time in certain areas of the day, whether it's be your lunchtime or before you start work, or for me personally, it's after work, of course. So I come home, have a shower, have dinner, etc., whatever. It gets to 8 p.m., which is the start of power hour here. So what I'll typically do is probably jump onto this platform, Edgefield platform, about 15. Oh, do you know what I meant to do? I meant to put the link. I always forget. Drag this down here. There we go. I'll get back into that in a second. I might even start again. Bear with me, everyone. I'm putting the link for the Edgefield platform below in the comments because there's no point in me talking about it and then you can't even do it. What use would that be? There you go. It's now attached to the stream. So now when I talk about the watch list, you will be able to have a look at your watch list yourself. Let's get out of that. Also, make sure you like and subscribe. You can see it's just there. If you're on YouTube, of course. If you're on X, then like and follow. I've got buttons for all of these. Don't you worry about that. Anyway, what are we talking about? We were talking about watch lists. So when you come onto the platform, so for me personally, as I mentioned, I come on here about 10, 15 minutes before power hour. And then what I'll do is I'll get up the power hour breakout report by selecting it on the top right hand corner, which is the bookmark. And then I'll just cycle through my watch list. But in terms of building the watch list, what you do is you go into the left side panel here, select watch list, and then straight away you see your watch list on the right side. You can easily just bin them off. I don't know why MicroStrategy is there. I never trade it, so get rid of that. Therefore, it's gone. It's already gone. SMCI, for example, we can just bin that as well, get rid of that. I normally just have the main stocks here because that's all my broker allows me to trade, um, in terms of day trading anyway. But yeah, now all you can do is you can just add them. So if we go to SMCI, just press the plus button there, and you can add whatever really. Crypto, you can add even dividend stocks if you like. Yeah, really easy way to kind of capitalize on your watch list and make it nice and fluid. So when you cycle through the stocks, if you go to reports, it goes back to the default. So you can just go power hour, SPY. You want to change your sub report again to weekday, as we mentioned earlier. And then it's just a case of me going through each and every single one while going through the charts as well. So then you're looking at the charts, and then what you're looking for essentially is price action, obviously towards the lower end of the day. I like the lows of the day, should I say? So let's go start back. Let's go to the SPY here. So the price action is obviously low towards the lows of the day going into the last hour. So there's an opportunity there. Likewise, if it's near the highs of the day, because obviously then you can go against it. You can start shorting the SPY. Go back there. So you can see my thesis behind it. We're getting that move ever so slightly. It's been a bit shy, a bit of a red candle coming in here, which is not so good. How's the Meta one doing? Not good at all. Hasn't really moved at all. Now, what you can do is if you can bring the stop loss up after a little while if you feel like it's a bit safer. Perhaps it's not moving in your way straight away, but obviously that's up to your risk management. For me personally, I'm having a look at the data and I'm trading based off of the data. So in my book, there's only a 17% chance or 19% chance, whatever it was, that it will get down to this level in the next 13 minutes. So I'm just going to leave it there for now. But I don't see any reason why you can't bring that up if you're feeling a little bit apprehensive about the price action going into the last 15, 20 minutes. Because essentially it is a bit of a scalp, really, isn't it? So yeah, for the power breakout report, we're just literally looking for price action near the lows or near the highs going to the last hour. It's really as simple as that. Right, where are we? Let's go here. It keeps doing this. Every time I switch the chart, it keeps shrinking it. It's really annoying. I'll be really annoyed now if that comes down and stops out. But hey, that's trading. Can't win them all. Since we're here, we might as well talk about the overall feelings on a lot of stocks. So this, in terms of the daily charts, so obviously this is SPY, Qs, what they're looking like. Yeah, so I've had this trend-based Fibonacci drawn for quite some time. I talk about it every Sunday on the live streams. Let's come back down to 620. That's kind of a line that I've got drawn there. It's rough. I mean, with a trend-based Fib extension, they're not always exact, but you kind of look at the rough area. I mean, look at this one. This is the line here. And of course, that's price action around that area. So perhaps you might think it'd be a bit lower. Let's go to Apple. Not too sure what those dots are there for. Yeah, way above the cloud. Amazon way above the cloud because of their earnings the other day. Barber's just kind of coming into the cloud. I'm not actually in that trade. That was an idea. Good job I didn't take that idea. It's kind of well in the cloud, which is not too bad. Got a bit of volume here on the right side, which it looks like it's kind of losing that. So perhaps the next level of interest might be around that 150 line. I don't mind it there at all. Let's have a look at that. If it does come down to 150, I like Alibaba. Google, terrific earnings, terrific run even before earnings. I mean, there's a run there, and they've got the earnings there last week. So nice little run there. Maybe just a natural calm down, maybe a fill of the gap, which has obviously been created here. There's another gap here as well I need to be aware of. Meta. Ooh, that's not looking good. Microsoft. Ooh. So ignore that trend line. That's done nothing. Looking like there's a lot of volume at this level. Trend cloud well inside the trend cloud now. So you could potentially place a trade here for the kind of swing opportunity and then have a stop loss there. Maybe 503 just to round it down. I'm getting there. There we go. 503. So that's an idea. That's definitely an idea for sure. Because it's not too much of a loss either if you do potentially lose that. You're only losing 2%. It's not too bad with a possible gain of 7%, which on leverage, obviously, the world is your opportunity. But yeah, Netflix. I don't really trade Netflix. I don't really know why it's there, to be honest. It's just always sat there. I'll leave it there for now. Nvidia doing well, of course. Maybe coming back down to this previous trend line, which subsequently is the resistance here. Powerhouses, 5 trillion market cap. Well, that's probably dipped down below that now. Tesla, it just keeps plugging away at this sort of range, this sort of area. Just waiting for that extra push that it just wants. It wants to do it, but it hasn't quite made that push yet. A push like this, just a couple of days of euphoric price action. Yeah, no, I think we're pushing down into the close, which is not good for my trade. But these things happen. You can't win them all. I mean, overall, it's been a very negative day. So this is the hourly chart for the futures of SPY. So this is yesterday's open market, and obviously overnight we've just come down straight. Well, yeah, pretty much straight down all day. Had a bit of a push here, but then obviously coming back down, maybe to break the support level here. This support level comes back down to the daily as well. So let's go back to the daily here. This is the top of the cloud. It's also the 20 moving average, which I don't have on this particular one. Let's go to normal swing. It's a 4-hour chart. Yeah, so there you go. That's the normal daily chart for the SPY futures, and you can see it's at the 20 moving average and previous resistance. So that's why I've got that line there, because I do think it's a good amount of support, at least at this early level. We break down below that, and we're looking kind of this sort of level 6730. Right. Let's have a look at SPY, see what that is. Yeah, so it's a SPY 20 moving average as well. So as it should be, but sometimes you do get it quite skewed sometimes. Right, let's jump back into the 5-minute chart. Yep, so both trades not doing too well going into the close. It does it every time. It just shrinks all the time. So while we're here watching this last 7 minutes of price action, go ahead and ask me any questions around Edge4 platform, any apprehensive you kind of got going on there. But the link for the platform is a free trial, so go ahead and check it out. It's made me money, so I can't complain. And it still can today. Who knows? It's nice price action off of this trend line so far. I do expect if we are to break this line, this yellow one, it might go a bit viciously down, which is why, of course, we have stop losses. And then you might think, well, okay, so maybe if it does break that and it does go viciously down, should I be shorting it? Yes and no. I mean, if it does come down quite viciously, then I'll probably just wait for it to come back up and then hit this sort of area and then go short, perhaps, depending on where we are. Um, but yeah, that hasn't happened yet. Yeah, I think this is going to stop out. Get that off the screen, shall we? I've been doing some research into leaps because I don't really options trade. It's never really been accessible for me until Robinhood came to the UK. But yeah, looking into that, it's quite fun. Quite interesting to see how it kind of frees up capital, even though you have the longer term positions potentially there. Yeah, look at this. It's not looking good. I think this might absolutely dump in a minute. Either that, we get really positive price action right now, but it has to be specifically right now because that is the lows of the day. Then we're now onto the minute chart. So the lows of the day are this blue line here. I'm not sure what that white line is. Should have put on some music, shouldn't I? Think about that. How close that is. So that's what, 2 minutes left of the market? We'll zoom in. It's quite incredible. 2 minutes left in the market. This was the low of the day, set about 15 minutes before the market closed. And it just, I still don't know what this is. Oh, that's the IB levels. Let's take that off for now. Yeah. So it just didn't tap the lows. Obviously, it still can in the next 2 minutes, but it just didn't tap it. Just. And therefore, the Edgefield data still lies for the next minute and a half. I wonder if the same thing happened to Meta. No, Meta didn't work. So somehow I'm still on the trade, somehow. But you can see the lows of the day was set, well, in the first minute. And then it's broken the lows. So the data that we saw for Edgefield, which is here, not down there, it's a Meta. This will now increase to probably above, well, maybe around that 20% mark by weekday on the Tuesdays. Next Tuesday, you'll see it a little bit higher than that because it has indeed broken the lows of the day. It's subsequently now bounced back up a little bit, but it has broken the lows of the day. It's always a fun, volatile time in the last 5-10 minutes of a market. It's what makes these live streams so fun. There's always something going on, you know? So I'm now debating on whether to leave this now. just because in my head it's already lost. Obviously, I'm okay with losing the position because that's why you put it on in the first place. You put the trades on that you're willing to lose. But I like the way it's bouncing off this level. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it past the close. We have now closed, I think. Yeah. Why has it stopped? How strange. Price action is gone. Yeah. So obviously, normal circumstances and a bit more of a calmer market, and perhaps where things may have played out a little bit better, you would close just before the market close, of course, because that's where the data lies. But I'm going to let it run for now, at least for another hour or so, and just see where we go. Yeah, awesome. I think it's been a good stream. Normally, I close it just after market close, but we've done well. I think we've had a good session. We've spoken about a lot of things. Let me know if you've got any questions. Drop them down in the YouTube comments, and of course, hit me up on the DMs on X if you don't want to put it in the comments. Take care, everyone. Trade safe. Enjoy the rest of your week. So I know I'm going to be enjoying my week, and yeah, take care, everyone.